And let's move a little bit from your product also to the market. So you could go into manufacturing, into hospitals, elderly care. Take us a bit on the journey, like what are your considerations here in terms of market?
Yeah, so if you think of robotics, the first thing that comes to mind is, of course, manufacturing, right? Because especially in kind of manufacturing with long cycles, like car manufacturing, the robots has been used since 1950s. And those robots, very strong, very fast, very precise, not very flexible. So it takes a while to configure them so that they do their job, but then they do their job for years. If you look into manufacturing more broadly, where smaller companies produce smaller batches of products, and these products change once in a while, for that robotics traditionally was not flexible enough. And that is why this more flexible manufacturing is a kind of obvious application for next generation of robots, which are more flexible, which can be reconfigured more easily. So yes, manufacturing would be a natural market. However, it's a complex market. People already have systems installed, the processes there that produce their goods. Any automatization is a disruption. So the solutions that go into this market, they need to be solid and established so that the transition can happen within days, maybe even hours. Then this market is fragmented. So all these companies, they all work differently. They have their different processes. They're not very open about talking about their processes to everyone. Got a lot of secrets in there. So when we incubated this idea at Intel, we actually were advised to go to manufacturing as a better market. And we kind of incubated this idea with the manufacturing in mind. But when I got my freedom to choose the market, I decided against that because I find for a little small startup, it is a difficult market to penetrate. Usually if a robotic company has some product, for instance, Universal Robots, they have cobot arms. They have an army of integrators that bring these arms into different applications, CNC machine tending, different machine tending, lab automation. Every application, every part of the kind of ecosystem have their own integrator. And as one little company, it's very difficult to kind of build up an ecosystem like that. Healthcare is different because in healthcare, there's much less automation out there. There's definitely need for automation because the personnel is overworked. There are different estimates between 30 and 70% of time, like nurses and care personnel, they do auxiliary tasks. They either bring things from A to B, they fix things, they clean things, not really do the jobs that are in their job description. But it's not so easy to bring robots into this market. And our technology actually targets specifically dynamic environments. So environments where unpredictable things happen. And if there are humans around, then most certainly unpredictable things can happen. So I think our technology is differentiated particularly well in those environments where you cannot optimize a person away because your customer is there next to the robot and not somewhere far, far away from the factory. So that's why we decided healthcare is a good beach market, kind of starting market for us. And then we had a choice between hospitals and care facilities. And hospitals are big enterprises, relatively slow, complex decision processes with complex constraints, with a lot of regulatory constraints. So again, for a small startup with groundbreaking new technology, not the easiest market to enter. Care facilities are smaller. So many of them are much more agile and flexible. They're interested in becoming more modern, becoming more attractive for their customers. So it's easier to start conversation with them. Also easier to get feedback, run pilot projects, get feedback and iterate and kind of co-develop the products together. So that's why we decided to go into this direction.